Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you. We're still right here, of course, broadcasting live in Midrand in the Republic of South Africa. This is Pan African Morning. We're riding from 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock, and we hope that you have enjoyed the first hour of your time with us. And without wasting much of time, of course, we must be reminded that yesterday it was actually a memorial service of the late Ubaba Andrew Mlangeni.
Yes.
And of course, there's been a lot of talk around his passing and actually his life that he has spent, in South Africa, and of course when he was still in exile. I mean,
Yes.
there were reports. Yesterday, after the day before yesterday, on Saturday, when the former President Jacob Zuma, he held a lecture, talking about Ubaba Mlangeni.
Yes.
And of course the Mlangeni Foundation has come back lashing out to say the former President Jacob Zuma shouldn't be talking about Mlangeni because he passed away when he was not happy about Ubaba Jacob Zuma.
Yes.
A guy that they've spent a lot of time together, a person that he knows him in person. And
Yes.
I somehow feel that, despite the fact that, the former president was, of course, having his problems with corruption and whatsoever,
Yes.
I don't think that one should be deprived from celebrating a life of another person, because it was not like the other way around, that
Yes.
Mlangeni was celebrating Zuma to
That's
say,
right,
he was a good man, but Zuma was celebrating a good man.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
don't really think that there was something wrong of somebody to celebrate. If a good man is a good man, he deserves to be celebrated.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. In the sense that, look, we're not talking about just an ordinary person.
Of
here.
course.
We're talking about Ubaba Mlangeni. Someone who has been in exile, someone who has fought for this country.
Yes.
Look, he has affected a lot of lives.
Yes.
In such a way that almost every one of us has got a good thing to say about him.
No, for sure.
Regardless of our personal things, as you just rightly said, that Zuma did some things that Ubaba Mlangeni did not like.
Yes.
You see, it's just like a child. When you bring up a child, you don't tend to hate the child because they're doing something wrong.
Yes.
But you reprimand the child, but it doesn't change who you are.
Yes.
You still remain a good parent.
Yes.
So that's the same situation with Ubaba Mlangeni.
Yes.
If he had something good to say about him, well, let him. You know, but of course we don't see the same way.
No, of course we don't. I mean, you made quite a very profound example to say that if you have a child and if your child is maybe a criminal, it doesn't mean that he's no longer your child. Even if you can chase your child away from home, it doesn't mean that you sincerely don't have love for that child. You just don't, subscribe to what that child is doing.
That's right.
You are obviously maybe bereaved like any other parent would be, but it still does not change the fact that, you do not, support what they're doing, but you must continue. I mean, let's look into that yesterday's memorial. I mean, we had the likes of the Minister of Transport, Fikile Mbalula, taking a stand in there. Have a look.
Allow me, in the presence of our leadership, to send my deepest condolences to the Mlangeni family for their loss. Sillo, Maureen, Sylvia, grandchildren, Mpumi, Noktula, and all the young ones. Thank you for sharing your grandfather with the nation. Your loss is our loss. Your father and grandfather touched many lives, both in politics and through the work of the Mlangeni Legacy Project. Allow me selfishly to single out Mr. Sillo Rasitaba, who pioneered and supported many of Ntate Mlangeni's legacy projects. We launched Mlangeni Foundation, which gathered a host of different people, chaired by me, Professor, and also our patron, Umkhuluwa Ntate Kgalema Motlanthe. And under that, we launched the book, the Green Jacket, the Blankets, a project that was dear to Ntate Mlangeni, which project must continue to honor his memory. During the years when we served in the leadership structures of the Youth League, Comrade Kgalema Motlanthe, our Secretary General and an elder, encouraged us to tighten the bonds with the elders of the ANC.
Look, Sisanda, one of the speakers that were there that were very profound is Tokyo Sexwale.
Of course.
He spent some time in Robben Island with Babum Langeni.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he experienced one of the brutal things that happened where they were tortured, especially him, and it affected his eye.
Imagine, like, you know, when we look into, when we hear these guys, when they're saying our freedom was not free, they have physical scars that they had to endure in order for our country to be free. And it's very, very sad that you see our country becoming what it's becoming right now. Because there are people that literally just gave their lives for it.
That's
you
true.
know, having to see, how there are people that are like, some of them, they're deaf completely. Some of them, they lost their eyesight, and they are going around and living with these things, and they have to forgive. You know, they have to forgive. They need to sit in the same table with the white people. They need to. It's an amazing, and this is another thing that I think this is why the former President Nelson Mandela is still praised as the world icon, because for someone to go through everything else that these guys have gone through, I mean, the likes of Jacob Zuma as well, they were part of this thing. And for them to just wake up and say, we forgive you.
That takes a lot. That takes a lot. And some of these things, as we're talking about this, some of these things are never told. They're untold stories.
No. We even spoke about, the post-apartheid trauma, whereby people were physically affected, and right now they need to be, in a position to be able to deal with the pain that they endure during the apartheid. So it was quite very difficult. But now let's have a look at some of those visuals from Tokyo Sexwale.
The family of Mlangeni, the leadership of the ANC as elected, Comrade Mlangeni would have been proud together with many of our departed if they see the manner in which we are today. We are honoring an age-old slogan of the African National Congress, which used to be broadcast on Radio Freedom: organize wherever you are. Irrespective of and regardless of what's happening with the pandemic, which is affecting our people and many people across the world, the ANC has assembled today through technology to honor this departed comrade. I'm happy to be part of this. We knew him as Motokwa. That's what he called himself. That's how they referred to him on Robben Island. Because when the leadership arrived there, they gave themselves different names. They came in as Mandela, but they came out as Madiba. Zizi, that was Governor Mbeki. Pamela, that was Comrade Sisulu. Mbona, that's Comrade Mukwai. Comrade Kathy, Comrade Comrade Kathy, because he didn't have a name, they used to call him Comrade India. And then, of course, Mlangeni Mutloka. He knew it all. He passed his life through the poverty-stricken areas of Bethlehem in the Free State. He knew it all. He was a member of the working class as a bus driver. He joined the Youth League. His party is not dissimilar to many of our people and many of our leaders. He joined the ANC, was a member of the Communist Party, as well as Umkhonto weSizwe, a founding member when he was called upon to do so. Man of courage. Because you should remember that those comrades were called upon to form Umkhonto weSizwe. It was not about how well prepared you are to die for your people. This time around, it was how much prepared you are to kill for your people. That's how we should locate the courage and bravery of a comrade such as Mlangeni, who joined the ranks of the Rivonia people.
Now, for sure, MERN is quite very much, celebrated. And to listen to all these people talking so profound of him, it really shows that he's a man that kept his integrity until the last day.
That's right.
There was another cartoon that I've seen, a sketch of a cartoon that was drawn over the weekend that was showing that, Mr. Mlangeni came in with only, so he goes into this heaven. As he arrives, the register, he's carrying only only his golf course, golf club,
Yeah.
and the rest of other, people that have passed, the likes of Nelson Mandela's and whoever, they are sitting on the other side,
Yes.
waiting for him, and the person at the reception is saying, "Oh yeah, the man with nothing." But his integrity and his golf club.
Yeah,
It is just
yeah.
amazing
It's
to see
amazing.
that,
It's amazing. And one of the things that the ANC said was that they were drawing so much insight from Obama Mlangeni.
I don't think they were, though. I don't think they were. They were just saying that they are drawing so much insight.
Yeah.
If they were, they would realize that he was a selfless man.
Yes.
He continued to save the society, to save the society, regardless. He even said that he did not feel that he had to, get a position for having fought for this freedom.
Wow.
He felt that he was doing that because he had to do it.
Yeah.
It's nothing that he has to be paid for.
Yeah.
It's nothing that he has to be compensated for. He felt that he must do what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And Sole Mapaila, the Tswanas had this to say.
The SSCP sends its deepest condolences to the Mlangeni family, the June and Drew Mlangeni Foundation, and the whole of the liberation movement and our fraternal organizations. Ngate Mlangeni, who was the recipient of the Lenin Peace Prize, was a towering communist at heart and in how he lived, and was an unwavering national patriot who has sadly fallen. Therefore, closing the illustrious chapter of that special leadership of the golden generation of our revolutionary struggle against oppression, apartheid oppression and colonialism.
Oh man, life well lived, we must say. I mean, having to see all these guys talking so profoundly of him. I mean, even though the former President Jacob Zuma, of course, they reprimanded him from, celebrating the life of the stalwart. I think he had also said a whole lot of profound things about him, and really may his soul indeed rest in peace.
A revolutionary struggle veteran has fallen at the age of 95. We mourn the demise of one of the 8 Rivonia trialists who stood in the dock in the Palace of Justice in Pretoria while awaiting their sentence on sabotage charges. This monumental event took place on the 12th of June in 1964, and it is considered to be the most significant political trial in the South African history. Mlangeni was one of the key defendants who ended up being detained in solitary confinement for 2 decades in Robben Island. Today, we celebrate his journey as an astute struggle hero and the last remaining Rivonia trialists. Sithi hamba kahle Mkhonto.
Three fears of government in Lagos State are to address the issue of personal protective equipment shortage for health workers. The chairlady of the association, Mrs. Blessing Israel, made the plea while receiving the relief packages donated by Unilever PIC for the new mothers and expected mothers in Lagos. Israel said that the nurses and the other health workers in a state hospital have been reusing some personal protective equipment due to shortage. This increased the danger posed to healthcare workers and the patients. She suggested that at this period, face masks should be manufactured in the state as well as the country, so as to the country could actually come to an end of the shortage. Now let us take a very short break. We will come back with more stories right here on Pan African Morning. Of course, we are still crossing across the African continent, giving you news updates right here on Pan African Morning.
Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful!
This is exactly what I was looking for!
DJ Khaled!
It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action.
I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you're doing something special.
Not being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Alright. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you the ninja way.
Don't just stand there, kill someone!
Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat.
Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you. We're still broadcasting live in Midrand in the Republic of South Africa. If you're in the north, east, west, and of course in the southern Africa, we're saying good morning to you and thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for allowing us to be in a part of your breakfast, of course, allowing us in your bedrooms, in your lounges, in your kitchens, in your dining room, in your TV rooms, wherever you are watching us. And those that are watching us through their mobile telephone numbers and of course in their mobile laptop, tablets, wherever you are watching us right now, we thank you so much for spending this time with us. We really, really appreciate it. You could have been somewhere else, but you chose to be here at the best breakfast show in the morning, and we appreciate you for that, for sure. Now, moving on, while we are still in Nigeria, the police in Lagos have busted the syndicates with specialized in importing fake and banned drugs from Pakistan to Nigeria. The two suspects have been arrested, and the drugs were cleared at the ports as scrubbing brushes in the container of brushes, where the fake and contraband medicines, including antibiotics, cough syrup, abortion pills, among others, with most of them carrying the name of Popular Pharmaceutical Company. The buzz comes after suspecting something was amiss while a group of people were offloading items from a container. The policemen demanded the bill of lading of a container with a number and to also see the customs officers responsible for the shipment, but the workers could not follow through. Now, look into this. I mean, these drugs were going to be used as a disguise of health, drugs that were supposed to be given to people, and these people were going to be taking this medication. I mean, some of them are being, your abortion pills, where you find women trying to, do abortion, and they'll be using this, of course, which obviously maybe kill both of them, the child, the unborn child, and the woman using them.
Yes.
And I mean, why would you risk people's lives so badly that you can actually create medicine that is actually contraband? And it's insane.
Look, Susanna, it goes back to greed. People want money. They don't care about health. They don't care about other people's lives. They just want money. I mean, if those kind of products get to the public, and you find a young person taking something that looks like a certain brand they used to, and they take it and it has not been tested, it has not been checked, and they take that thing, they get health problems, and some of them, they just die instantly. Those things are the things that we face in our communities, and we find out that the public knows about these things, and therefore they fight against the retailers that are selling these things, because most of them, they know them.
No, for sure. We have seen even here in South Africa a large number of, contraband, items were seized, but of note, where people were literally just manufacturing food, your spices that we all know, they will put in Robertson's outside while it's just a bunch of sand and other things and stuff like that, and they just put together. I mean, some of it, they were saying they were taking normal flour, they take flour and then put some colorant in it, and then you're busy putting this thing in your food and think that I'm eating chicken spice, but it's all nonsense. And I see it when they still even using those type of things that cannot harm you. But when they start taking things like, how they used to make alcohol, that was really, really dangerous, because they would take very, very dangerous substances. I mean, cleaning things, bleaching, and any of those things that have got alcohol in it, they take those things and mix it and then put spirit in it and put a lot of things so that when you smell it, you smell as if it smells like alcohol. Meanwhile, it is actually not alcohol. Another thing that they do, Mpumi, is they take these types of these types of items like your medicine type of things, and then they put it into of course they're just gonna keep on branding it and make it look like it is what you are actually now going to buy. But they put in some drugs in it so that you become addicted to it. So, for instance, you are thinking that you are buying a normal grandpa, you take this grandpa and then you feel oozy and then you go to sleep and you're like, oh yeah, it's working.
It's
only
working.
to find that you're actually taking drugs.
Something else is working.
Exactly. So you keep on taking this over and over and over again. And then ending up, of course, being addicted to this type of medicine. And it's really, really dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Anyway, now let's move in with our stories. Now going to the United States of America. A report by United States of America's Department of Labor had revealed that child labor in cocoa production farms has increased from 30% in 2010 to 41% in 2020. This means that millions of children are still in sweet treats making industry for not so delightful rewards. Let's take a look at the following insight.
Chocolate is an ever-increasing global passion. Each year, we eat 7 million tons of it, and the amount doubles every 10 years. Chocolate is celebrated through trade fairs and exhibitions. The industry flocks in, from the artisanal chocolate maker to the transnational corporations that dominate the market. Even exporting countries come to tell European kids the beautiful story of the cocoa bean, mother of their favorite treats.
Vous connaissez la Côte d'Ivoire? C'est le pays qui produit le plus de cacao au monde. les fruits des cacaoyers ou cacaotiers, on les appelle les cabosses. Et regardez la taille de nos cabosses. On prend soin de nos plants. C'est des cabosses d'amour. On les entretient comme vous. On va prendre le temps de les cueillir avec joie, les détacher tendrement des arbres, sans les blesser. Parce que nous faisons tout avec amour en Côte d'Ivoire.
Within the chocolate show, a small space is surprisingly open to an NGO that does not pull punches.
Si vous avez mangé du cacao beaucoup dans les 20 dernières années, vous avez vous-même mangé du travail des enfants, de l'esclavage. Ils travaillent dans le pire forme de travail des enfants, c'est-à-dire des produits chimiques très dangereux, des machettes, des poids très lourds.
Industrials want to show they also want to save the planet and to keep their hands clean. They pledge transparency.
Les industriels ne sont absolument plus dans le déni. La déforestation, le travail des enfants dans les plantations, tout ça, c'est des choses dont on parle et dont ils sont tout à fait conscients. Et je vous assure qu'ils donnent aussi vraiment du mal.
Over the past 10 years, the chocolate industry committed to do whatever they could to save the forests and send children to school. But what happens to these good intentions once you hit the road and go on the field?
Now moving on with our stories, countries such as Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana are some of the countries with the biggest exports of cocoa. Now let's take a very short break. When we're coming back, we've got more news and updates for you right here on Pan African Mornings. Stay with us.
Feel the heat. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat.
The day will come when these measures are no longer needed. Until then, however, we must ensure that all our people receive adequate support. We look ahead to a better future. I have faith in the strength and the resilience of ordinary South Africans who have proven time and time again throughout our history that they can rise to any challenge that is presented to our country. We shall recover. We shall overcome.
Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you. We're still right here on Pan African Morning. Maybe moving on with our stories now. I think it's your time now to take the spot.
Well, let's get to it. Well, North Korea has locked down city of Kaesong near the border of South Korea after finding what could be the country's first official COVID-19 case. North Korea announced a critical situation in which the vicious virus could be said to have entered the country after the suspected patient returned from South Korea by illegally crossing the border last week. Now, the coronavirus test results was subscribed as uncertain, but the person was placed under quarantine, with health officials launched an investigation on those who might have come in contact with the individual in Kisong. If confirmed, he or she would be the North Korea's first official COVID-19 patient in the country, as it has remained virus-free. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un convened a bilateral meeting over the dangerous situation in Kisong City that may lead to a deadly and disruptive disaster.
Oh, wow.
Well,
oh wow! just to imagine that North Korea was virus-free.
Yes. Wow.
Like,
wow.
How
did that happen?
How did that happen? Oh wow, that's quite very interesting. It's very interesting to hear about it. And I mean, for it's not unheard for Kim to just declare state of emergency with just one case.
With one case, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes,
really not.
yes.
And I'm hoping the person with COVID-19 won't be killed. And especially that they actually came into the country illegally. And of course now found to have had the COVID-19, because North Korea is a country that doesn't take nonsense. It's a no-nonsense country. And if you do something wrong in that country,
well, hopefully they'll be able to cut it off before it spreads further.
No, for sure.
Continuing, in the meeting, the leader declared a state of emergency over Kisong area, and lockdown measures were put in place shortly after the suspected case was reported. So a coronavirus outbreak would pose a significant threat to North Korea's poor health system, which lacks basic protective equipment and medical supplies. Now, mindful of the threat, the isolated country has sealed itself even further off from the outside world, as the coronavirus has spread to areas near its border with China. To date, the country has about 1,100 tests conducted since the pandemic was confirmed. In the meantime, international and aid organizations have provided COVID-19 test kits and personal protective equipment to North Korea to assist its battle against the virus.
Yeah.
Researchers have called for skin rashes to be included as one of the main symptoms of COVID-19. Some COVID-19 patients are presently or presenting with rashes inside their mouths, which are called an anethema and are common in patients with viral infections. It is not yet known how common this symptom is in the case of COVID-19. While rashes on the skin have long been dismissed to be tied to COVID-19, doctors in Spain report that rashes on the inside of the mouth are also occurring in some cases. Now, 21 patients were part of the study, and of these patients, 6 patients, which is 29%, had anethema on the inside of their mouths. The affected patients ranged in the age of 40 to 69. The team said and 4 of the 6 were women. The mouth rash appeared anywhere from 2 days before the onset of other COVID symptoms to 24 days after, with an average time of about 12 days after onset of symptoms.
Very interesting now that these type of symptoms, they're continuing, of course, to change as they discover new things with this virus. It's quite very challenging, though, to also hear that. I mean, it comes in with the rash inside the mouth, and I think it's no surprise, though, Mpumi, because we know that some people, when they've got like flu, sometimes they'll have the blisters in their mouths and here and there and stuff like that, which has become part of course, the flu. But now, the fact that, of course, it is inside the mouth, it is also another challenge, and now it's being considered as one of the key symptoms. So I think people need to look out for that, of course. Take a look and check if you have such symptoms, and then you would know that you have COVID.
But we can say it's expected, as you have just rightly said, that
Yes.
you would have a blister on your mouth when
Yes.
you have flu. It's something that's almost related to that kind of thing.
Yes.
And also, when looking at one of the symptoms that
Yes.
was said earlier on,
Yes.
when the COVID started,
Yes.
they would say that you will have pink toes as one of the symptoms.
Yes.
I mean, things will be coming up as time goes on.
Yes,
And then
yes. Yes.
we just need to be
and
reporting
of course,
on them.
some of those have been dismissed, of course, when they come
Yes.
in, they say, oh, no, that's not it. But
Exactly.
I think as we all get to learn, the way in which COVID-19 carries itself
Yes.
around people, we'll get to know how it responds and how, it affects people. So
Yes.
I think it's, from time to time, we're just going to give it some time and get to know more about this COVID-19. But having said that, also there has been, the Tedros, the Director General of World Health Organization.
Yes.
He had actually made an announcement that, at this stage, with the way that COVID-19 is continuing to increase in some countries and some parts of the world, he was calling and saying that people need to treat each and every day or each and every person that you meet each day as a matter of life and death.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Because if we just look at it in a normal way and not really focus quite extensively on who do we meet, where do we go, and so on, you would never know where you could actually catch the virus. I mean, there are some countries where they are still looking into to say that COVID-19 will be hitting them hard in September.
Yes.
And we obviously hope that by that time South Africa would be way behind, the number of cases that are being reported on a daily basis, as we are racing towards 500,000 by now.
Yes.
So we are hoping that people can actually listen to those messages and take them quite very seriously because they deserve that attention.
Another thing that had been spoken is that the virus is airborne.
Yes, the virus is indeed airborne, and it is important that we need to make sure that when you go out in public, especially, keep your mask on. Because a person can just sneeze somewhere. A person can just sneeze somewhere, and when the person is sneezing and you're just walking around, you obviously did not see what might have happened.
True.
And you're passing in there, you're not even wearing a mask, and that's virus is still, lingering around, and you can just pick it up and then off you're gone. Totally. Yeah. So we must really take a good care of ourselves. We must.
True. Well, carrying on, Hurricane Hannah lashes through Texas as U.S. state faces coronavirus crisis. Now, 2020's first Atlantic hurricane has forced officials to arrange shelters and evacuation plans while maintaining social distancing. Now, Hurricane Hannah has pummeled the southern coast of Texas in the United States overnight with howling winds and a surging sea that threatens a broad area already contending with a spike in coronavirus cases. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said any hurricane is an enormous challenge and has issued a disaster declaration for 32 counties in Texas that are in storm's path.
Timing of this storm making matters even more difficult.
Yeah, the storm coming ashore in the lower Texas Gulf Coast area, destroying homes in an area in the middle of a struggle to handle the needs of a rush of coronavirus patients.
And as the first hurricane to hit the U.S. this year, in fact, the first hurricane of the Atlantic season, it has now been downgraded to a tropical storm, but is still packing high winds, heavy rain, and flooding. Rob Marciano right there in Corpus Christi. Rob, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, not a good spot to have a hurricane considering how active the virus is down here. And on top of that, this part of the Gulf, hurricanes can intensify quickly, and that's exactly what happened with Hannah. It got to nearly Category 2 status as it came ashore yesterday, bringing with it a still relentless storm surge and tremendously damaging winds.
Overnight, Hurricane Hannah slamming South Texas. The strong Category 1 storm hounding Corpus Christi and Point South with powerful winds strong enough to knock over this semi. And flooding rains and dangerous storm surge too.
We're in the eye wall of Hurricane Hannah, which is making landfall right now on the coast of South Texas with 90-mile-per-hour winds.
The first hurricane of the season, Texas taking a direct hit. Port Mansfield hit hard as Hannah makes her way inland. Wow. The strong winds peeling off roofs and snapping structures in half. Trees knocked over, blocking roads, and power lines ripped down, leaving thousands without power across the area. The storm surge in Corpus Christi so high it left roadways like this one submerged in floodwaters. And with COVID-19 complicating rescue efforts, the governor issuing a disaster declaration for 32 counties. Emergency operations centers activated.
We'll go on a commercial break. Just make sure you join us after the break.
Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset. Absolutely beautiful!
This is exactly what I was looking for.
DJ Khaled!
It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action. I like it when it's nice, soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Hello. Being a legal practitioner in South Africa in these challenging times demands lawyers that will help clients beyond legal issues. The ever-changing demands in commerce and tourism require lawyers who have sound and clear business and commercial knowledge, and that's where MB Chabangu Incorporated comes in. Our business, mining, tourism, health, labor, and economic knowledge encapsulated with law and litigation experience gives us an advantage in the legal sphere. Our experience in assisting businesses, government, and various industries with their needs puts us amongst the many progressive and striving law firms in South Africa. Now, to contact our attorneys for assistance with any of the mentioned fields and others, please call us on 012-341-4187 or send us an email on admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, where problems meet solutions.
Earphone, I don't know, maybe they fell or something. Oh, welcome back.
It is a good morning after all.
It is a good morning after all. I mean, imagine when you're still kind of like, oh yeah, where is what going on with your life?
Yeah.
And then boom,
well,
you're
this is
on
our
television.
second home.
Yes, of course. This is our home, and it's great that you're out there. You're having your breakfast with us as we are having our tea right here on our as you can see. So before we went on to, of course, the break, we were actually talking about, how this COVID-19 has been affecting a lot of people. And Tedros was actually talking about how we need to take this as serious as possible. And we also learned that, Morocco is actually right now also going through a whole lot of distress with the COVID-19. And initially, they were taking care of it quite very well.
Yes.
And now it has just went out of control, and it's uncontrollable. And it means that people, we need to continue being very vigilant. We must continue to be very careful on how we treat each other and how we behave around in a society. Because by the way, it looks like it looks like it could get worse.
Yeah, look, Sisanda, it's each and every one's responsibility to make sure that the virus doesn't spread. We can't be looking at governments so that the virus doesn't spread. No, it is an individual's responsibility. Wear your mask, sanitize, make sure that you're safe at all times, so that we prevent the spread of the virus.
No, for sure, for sure. You've just nailed it in the in the head that it is quite very important that we must make sure that we take care. Like, if I am taking care of myself, I'm literally just taking care of you.
That's right.
And if you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of me on the other hand. If there is a possibility that you don't have to be going to the public, stay at home as much as you could. I remember that, I see some parents as well, that they do the very same thing, that when you happen that you need to go to the shops and there's no way you can keep your children, you can even actually just leave them in the car, get into the shopping center, leave them in the car, leave your windows open if it's safe to do so, go into the shopping, do whatever you need to do quickly, so that you can come back and be be in the car with your children and then drive back. There's no need for you to carry the children around and whatever, because
obviously there must be supervision as well.
Of course,
of the children,
because you cannot control them. That's the thing. You cannot control them. Tried that before, and you can realize that they hold everything, they touch everything. You can never control the children. So it will be quite very important that we take care of that. Let's have a look at that visual.
We're asking everyone to treat the decisions about where they go, what they do, and who they meet with as life and death decisions, because they are. It may not be your life, but your choices could be the difference between life and death for someone you love, or for a complete stranger. In recent weeks, we have seen outbreaks associated with nightclubs and other social gatherings, even in places where transmission had been suppressed. We must remember that most people are still susceptible to this virus. As long as it's circulating, everyone is at risk. It's all about making good choices. Know your situation. Do you know how many cases were reported where you live yesterday? Do you know where to find that information? Do you know how to minimize your exposure? Are you being careful to keep at least 1 meter from others? Are you still cleaning your hands regularly? Are you following the advice of your local authorities? Don't expect someone else to keep you safe. We all have a part to play in protecting ourselves and one another.
Welcome back. Now, today's guest is a multi-talented theater practitioner with talents in all disciplines within the arts. He started his venture in the arts at the age of 8, and by the age of 22, he had graced performances abroad and locally on the biggest stage or dance stages, such as Birmingham Civic Rights Institute in the United States of America, and the festival 10 Encendidos in Valencia, Spain, to name a few. Now, in 2014, his dance work took first place on the Hillbros Got Talent competition, and in the same year, in the Boston College Campus Culture competition, his dance choreography took second place. After graduating and moving into dance Mopatong in 2016, he was able to establish a Dance for Change theater company, which has made an enormous impact through dance education and choreography since its inception in 2017. Now, today he joins us in the green couch. My brother, welcome.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Tell us more. When did this all begin?
It began when I was 8. I've been sure that expressing the love of dance since I was 8 years old, and I've been given an opportunity to grow within the arts, from the Hillbrow Theatre project to moving into dance, and I've established the Dance for Change Theatre Company.
Yeah. What inspired you?
I wanted to make a difference in the community. A lot of people know Hillbrow as a place that is negative, that is
Yes,
full of crime.
yes.
So I wanted to make sure that while I'm still alive with my gifts, I make an impact as well.
Yeah.
A positive impact.
I hear you saying Hillbrow is notoriously known.
Yeah.
There are some other places that are so, but why specifically Hillbrow?
I grew up in Hillbrow.
Okay.
So I've seen the negative circumstances in Hillbrow as well. So I was kind of fed up with how things are.
Yeah.
And I had to be part of the people that contribute towards solving the negative circumstances in Hillbrow.
Yeah.
Let me find out. You are saying you grew up in Hillbrow.
Yeah.
What is it that actually protected you? Because we've seen, we're not saying that all children that grow up in Hillbrow, they tend to be what Hillbrow is like. But what protected you? Because they are all exposed to those. There are two options. It's either you come out the other way or the other.
Sure.
What led you to be where you are? How were you protected?
I was part of the Hillbrow Theatre outreach program. So after school, I'd go there. So that would make me to not focus on criminal activities.
Yes.
So I knew that after school I'd go for rehearsals. There's something that kept me busy.
Okay.
So usually if you don't have something that keeps you busy, you will think of notorious things to do. So the Outreach Foundation kept me busy, kept me focused, kept me disciplined as well. So that's how I was safe.
You're a dancer.
Yes.
To all type of activities in arts that you would have gone to. What inspired you to become a dancer? Is there somebody maybe in your family that was a dancer before, or you just realized, I can do it? Okay.
Yeah. I think I realized that I can dance. I'm the first in my family. I'm quite passionate about dancing. So yeah, I looked at people around me, people who inspire me as well. When I saw them on stage, I was driven to actually want to do the same thing. So yeah.
Who inspires you?
Sunny Boy Mutaung from moving into dance, David April, and Gregory Makoma from Vuyani Dance Theatre.
Okay, that's awesome. Now tell us, take us through your journey. Of course, growing up in the streets of Hillbrow, it's not an easy path for one to do. Did you come across any challenges as you were starting off with the dancing?
I think one of the challenges that I experienced was having to stand out because most young people, they don't see dancing as something that you can follow as a career. So one of the challenges that I faced was to try and stand out and try and follow my passion without being discouraged. And so another thing would be the whole environment of Hillbrow. When you're saying you're from Hillbrow and you're a dancer, those things don't relate because they're thinking if you're from Hillbrow, you must be doing something that is criminally influenced. So those are the challenge. Some of the challenges that I experienced.
In going abroad and expanding to where you are right now, did you ever think it will happen that way?
No, I didn't think it will happen. It was just God to open doors for me. And it's just prayer, belief, and having to work hard and positioning yourself for different opportunities as well.
You entered a various competitions in South Africa, which one of them, I think you came out second on the Boston one. Take us through those. Most people, when they come into competitions, sometimes it's a competition. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Take us through, especially those that you didn't win, but how did you continue pushing until you found yourself in the world stage theaters, like in the United States, for an example?
I think one of the things that encouraged me to participate in these competitions, I wasn't going there to be the best or to prove that I was the best. I just wanted to just express my talent and explore my creativity because with each competition I was able to challenge myself to be creative enough, and I wasn't focusing on being the best or winning or anything, but I happened to win and I happened to take second place as well.
When you don't win, what happens?
I think I get motivated to kind of press on and work harder and work on where, because I usually ask for feedback from the judges. So from then on, I perfect my craft with each and every time.
Quite very key. So you are saying that if you didn't win, even if you won, you do ask the feedback from the judges to know what is it that you didn't do well. Do you always get a response? Because sometimes they're saying, bitter loser, just leave us alone. We are busy.
I think I usually get feedback, because even if you had won, there is no perfect performance. There is always somewhere where I can fix. So some will tell me that, okay, I should fix maybe my stage appearance or something, my costume or something like that, but there's always something that I should work on.
So it's a passion.
Yes, it is.
You've been to, of course, Spain, performing in there. How it's like to perform in, international stages and sharing the stage with the international dancers?
I think it's a privilege to actually represent South Africa. We may not be popular or anything like that, but having to travel to other countries to represent your own country, it's a privilege, because no one gets such an opportunity.
Of course.
So it has been an honor. I think going to Spain and Germany in 1 year, it was one of my highlights of my career. That was my first time having to tour with the production. So it was a learning curve as well.
Sure. So where to from here?
I'm working on Dance for Change data project. So that is the NPO side, where we get to teach kids dance. There's also confidence merchandise as well. So Dance for Change has got its own merchandise. So that's what we're trying to push at the moment to raise funds.
So what exactly do you want to get out of these children? Do you want them to become dancers, or what is it exactly that you're trying to do in this?
I'm trying to use dance to raise leaders. I'm trying to use dance to instill discipline. They can be doctors or anything like that, but there's so much discipline you can learn within the arts that you can use in other sectors as well. When you're working in some other places, you can use that discipline within the arts. So I wanna implement that, raise leaders, raise people who will make a solution and not just be looking at the problems and stuff. So that's what I wanna do.
So let's say there's a young woman or young boy out there that says, I would like to dance, but I'm not really sure if I could do it. How do you first identify your talent?
I think it starts with first believing in yourself. You start with being a dancer. You start with moving first. So you start moving one movement at a time. Then from then on, you gravitate towards being inspired by other people. Then from there you imitate them. From imitating them, you then discover what you are passionate about. Then from there you will grow. So everyone can actually dance. Dance is movement after all. So if you can move, you can dance.
So what about the says that some people are actually naturally offbeat, that they can't really?
I won't mention who.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't mention. I won't tell either, But how about that? I mean, as a dance expert, you probably in a better position to tell us. Is there such?
I think people can be taught rhythm. That's why within the dance space, there is choreography and then there is dance teaching. So for you to learn rhythm, you ought to be part of a dance class.
Yes.
Then you'll be taught. If you find a passionate teacher who's passionate in dance, teaching dance, like myself in Dance for Change, you can get to be taught rhythm, how to master rhythm. One movement at a time.
Hi, okay, we're going to take a very short break while we are still sitting here with you. And when we're coming back, we've got more news and updates. And of course, our guest is still right here at the studios with us. Please do stay tuned.
Walila umntwana alilela umamake wamthatha wambeka esifubeni sakhe wathi thula sana lwam wathi thula sana lwam. Dumelang sanibonani absheng. My name is Mariki Bothma Ntomza Zulu Zindli Ntomza KZN, all the way from KZN, but currently here in Joburg at Galaxy Universal Network, Starset Channel 500, and on our Facebook page, Galaxy Universal Network. Welcome to a brand new show called Scars. We all have a history. You may be the victim, yet you are alive. You are the survivor. You are the overcomer. You are the conqueror of your past and of your pains. The show is all about you sharing your stories, you sharing your life experiences. We're going to show people out there whether you've been abused mentally, physically, emotionally. We have all been affected by abuse. The show will consist of from bullet survivors to cancer survivors to people living with disabilities to ex-convicts. No story will be too big or too small to be shared on this platform. Do join us every Saturday 11 to 12 right here on Galaxy Universal Network. But we also do have a few surprises for you in store. Every Saturday 11 to 12, Galaxy Universal Network. Walala wasala. See you there.
Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you. We're still right here on Pan African Morning. Of course, today I am broadcasting live in Midrand with Mpumi Mbama that we've been holding down for you from 6 o'clock until right now. And we hope that you are still enjoying your time with us. And please do remember that in the studio, we are still with Sibusiso Dube, a dancer that is still going to, get us going. I mean, he didn't tell you, Mpumi, why you didn't tell the viewers that actually I've been like literally on fire this morning. You don't want to know what I was doing behind the scenes, but I'm going to give you the snippets of it later on to show you my dancing skills that I'm very, very, flexible when it comes to that. And I know somebody who can't even move a leg to save his life. I'm not going to say who, of course. Now, moving on with our stories, the Frenchman Fabio Quartararo won for the second straight week at Jerez yesterday as he dominated the Andalusia MotoGP while bikes crashed and broke down behind him in a searing heat. Quartararo on the satellite, a Yamaha was followed home by Spaniard Maverick Vinales and Italian veteran Valentino Rossi, both on Yamaha factory bikes, as the only 13 of the 21 starters are finished. The Frenchman has won both races in coronavirus-delayed MotoGP season. Quartararo has a 50-point lead over the reigning champion Marc Marquez, who was absent with a broken arm. Have a look.
Slippery in those last 10 laps. Franco Morbidelli there, 6th on the grid. He does not have. Seeing Grand Prix, well, Simon's about to ask Mike Leitner.
Mike, KTM really are looking good this season.
Coming up now. Lights out. Good start from Fabio Quartararo. Leads into turn 1. Oh, there's a bit of drama further back. Is that Lecuona? It's certainly one of the Red Bull. Start from Miller. Nakagami, Bagnaia and Morbidelli. Pol Espargaro well wide at turn 5. How is that Yamaha whole shot device? So surely into the final turn. Here he comes. He's number 12 up inside. No, he hasn't. He's well wide. He loses out. He drops back to 3rd. He was going to be Pecco Bagnaia at the moment, swarming all over his Pramac Ducati teammate Jack Miller's rear tyre. In fact, at the moment, it looks like Bagnaia's got the better pace. See, the buffer that Quartararo wanted. This is costly for Vinales. Cannot get stuck behind Rossi for too long. one. Rossi in, a bit wide from Rossi. As Vinales going to out-drag him then up the straight and try and get him on the brakes into the first quarter, and then set about in wide to let Quartararo and Rossi through, not to have Jack Miller sweep through as well. Now here's Dovizioso picking his way through the pack as we expected. Pretty cool. Jorge Lorenzo Yamaha style demolition job. Yeah, there's no catching Fabio Quartararo. Oh, that's wide from Pecco Bagnaia. Miller really wide. Bagnaia almost going through there on it. Just was able to pull it down. Oh, Tech 3 are having a disaster.
Third crash of the weekend for Iker Lecuona as well, unfortunately. The unwanted hat-trick for the 27.
A day that was looking so promising.
Back from Nakagami. He's going for it. Yeah, he's just going to plug that inside curb.
Lovely move.
It was lovely. That is on the podium, given his speed all weekend. Be a disaster. That would be a disaster. I don't care if he's top 6, top 5. That would be not. Unfortunately, he's out.
Oh, here comes Jack.
Oh wow, awesome. Let's go and take a look on what happened after he has actually won. Celebratory modes, you know.
In the races last week and this week, you have not made one single mistake, even though it's been tough conditions. Was today almost the perfect race for you?
Wow, I did some mistakes, but small ones. Actually,
we couldn't see them. We didn't see them.
Good. But, you know, so tough because, you know, to make 25 laps in front with this temperature, I think was the hardest race of my life. Honestly, it was so hot. No air. Also, my hand and my feet was so hot. So really difficult, but honestly, I felt really good on the bike. And what is difficult in this category is like sometimes you finish a race in Moto2 is one condition, sometimes is another. So from last week the condition was different, so we need to adapt so quick, and I think that's the most difficult in this race in Jerez.
We knew it was going to be so physical in those hot conditions. It's been hotter today than it was in the race last Sunday. When you're at the front for as long as what you were right from the start, I mean, how difficult is it mentally as well, just to keep that focus, keep that concentration?
Well, so difficult, you know, when you see the gap. The first time I see the gap was 0.6 Valentino. So I said, okay, now it's time to really push. I did 38.1, I didn't expect that lap. And yeah, it was 0.6, 1.2, 1.6. And actually, I always remember 1.6 second in Moto3 was nothing. But 1.6 second in MotoGP is a lot. So one lap I just looked back in turn 6 and I said, wow, I have a massive advantage, and I had 4 seconds. So I said, okay, I will stay calm, and finally so happy to be in the podium and the victory, because it was a really tough race.
I need to ask you, because throughout your career we've heard how much you've been a big fan and admirer of Valentino Rossi, and today it must have been such a special moment in your career, because on a MotoGP podium together with your hero, how special was that?
While we are still on sports, of course, Highlands Park have received a big offer for the sale of their Premier Soccer League franchise, which will have to be considered if it can be substantiated, says the co-owner Larry Brookstone. Brookstone, the co-chairman of the Johannesburg-based club in Tembisa, along with Brett Kaftel, was at pains of stress that the Highlands are not for sale, nor is the club or its sponsor, Hatfield VW, is under financial pressure. And I can tell you, if someone came with this sort of offer on my home, I would also consider that. I would tell you that in a week's time, if you will hear that I've sold the club, know that for sure that the guy delivered on unbelievable promise. Brookstone said with COVID-19 has affected the owners' businesses, including Hatfield VW, but Highlands Park are far shaky ground financially, and are far from shaky ground financially, and business is marginally down on every high turnover dealing with the public companies and massive corporations who are not affected by the situation, he said. Highlands, in their previous incarnation, a glamour team of the white football in South Africa, were restored in a top flight soccer by former Silver Stars owner Brookstone. Now, look into that. I mean, a small club like, you know, the Highlands Park, I mean, one would actually think that, oh, yeah, you know what, they are going for sale and stuff like that. And the owners are saying, no, we are not selling and we are actually not broke. It's quite very interesting to hear that Gasipe's team can say, you know what, we're not broke, and take us right, and we are not going to sell our team.
Do you reckon they've got better plans?
I think
and
they
bigger
do.
Plans? Yeah.
I think they do. I mean, of course, Tembisa had been priding themselves with Highlands Park, and we all know that, when that team is playing, the stadium is, especially if they are playing in Makulong Stadium, based in Tembisa, it is always packed. It's always full because people in Tembisa, they are associating themselves with this team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for them to sell this team, it will obviously mean that they are taking the team away from the people of Tembisa. So I'm quite very, very sure that they are not going to be selling that team, and kudos to them. And VW is still sticking with them, despite the fact that they had to close for a very long time, and they had to sit and continue with the business.
They believe in the same vision.
Of course, that's very good. And it's great to have a sponsor like that, Mpumi, a sponsor that will stick with you through thick and thin.
That's true.
For sure. A complaint of abuse of power and other violations against South African Football Association President Danny Jordan had been sent to the FIFA Ethics Committee. FIFA is yet to respond to the complaint filed by the two SAFA National Executive Committee members, William Moka and the former Vice President Gay Mokoena. Now, this is another issue, that we have been seeing in the, football space, and not just football only, but in many other sports fraternities, where we have noticed that there's been report of course, racism, inequalities, and so on and so on, where people were obviously accusing, people in the leadership of not being inclusive, especially to the black people.
Yeah.
Quite very interesting story in there. And now we are going to look back into our interview with our dancer, and of course we are going to share some of your dance moves that you have actually, of course, have done in the past, and we want to see how you get, because I mean, when somebody's looking at this gentleman in a tie, I really don't think you don't
really see that.
No, you don't see a dancer, and now please do tell us, of course, when you go out there to dance and stuff like that, you get to be met by so many people, and others, of course, they envy your talent and stuff like that. Are there days in your life where you feel like, what, I should have done something else, man? I mean, dancing, no, man, I'm tired.
I think one of the days that I felt like giving up was when there was no money that was coming into the account or anything like that. So you find that sometimes you go to teach for free because you are passionate about it.
Yeah.
So it's days when you don't have money that you feel like, maybe I should have been an accountant, maybe I should have been a doctor or something like that. But then, when you press on, you use those free opportunities to fine-tune your skills, especially if you're teaching or choreographing. So
Yes. As you mentioned, that you get to sometimes do this for free. But now one would imagine, how do you make money in dancing? Can you share for us the business of dancing? Now, look into it. Understand that you even opened a company yourself that you are running. Please just take us through the business of dancing.
So as a dancer, you can belong to a well-established organization. So you can become a company member. So there are the advantages that come with that. You can get paid every month. You can go and perform at certain corporate events while you're representing that company. And then as a dancer also, you can be a freelancer. So as a freelancer, you wait for certain gigs, you go and audition for certain gigs. I think it's similar to acting as well. You can belong to certain productions for a specific time. But as a freelancer, it's hard to get like consistent forms of income.
Yes.
Because you have to know someone who knows someone, and then you can get paid consistently. And then with me as well, I started my own organization. So I'm not really a freelancer per se, because I belong to Dance for Change.
Yes.
So my challenge as a founder of an organization is the fact that I have to go and look for gigs for the artists that belong to my organization.
Okay.
So that's part of the, I think I've explained some part of the business within the dance space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now, let's say now, because I'm just trying to find as much information as possible from you in terms of, young people wanting to get into that space, wanting to be dancers, and trying to figure out, because for acting, it's mostly quite common, and also for music, it's quite very common where people, audition to become backing vocalists for certain groups and whatsoever. But now, in dancing, do you do a specific type of dancing so that maybe if, let's say, Casper is looking for a dancer for his music video, you do those, or it's a specific dance for theater? If you can just clarify that whole space for us.
So there's dance theater performers. Usually dance theater performers, they perform in theater spaces. Most of them, they do contemporary dance, and then there are some who have modernized spansola, hip hop, and brought into theater spaces.
Yes.
And then for if maybe an artist is looking for dancers, it's better to be versatile, because you can't just say I'm a hip hop dancer and
that's
then
right. Yes.
If someone wants spansola dancer, then you miss that gig. So it's an advantage for you to be actually versatile. There's those who are called street dancers, who are not into theater spaces, but they dance at surely like street bashes. For some, they perform at concerts. Some who are called street dancers, they focus on the street genres of dance. So it's hip hop, pantsula, kwasa kwasa, and them. So what I would advise is, as a dancer, you must be versatile, because people can ask for traditional dancers, and especially if you have formal dance training in different type of genres, because I went to moving into dance and we're taught different genres. So
yes,
if they want Zulu dancers, I can perform. If they want Pantsula dancers, I have a basic understanding, so I can choreograph to that extent.
What is a Zulu dancer?
Someone who dances in Ndlamu, all of those Zulu traditional dances.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So do you get into a space where you learn all types of traditional dancing? So if maybe someone is looking for Tswana traditional dancing, you can do that. If you're looking for Xhosa traditional dancing, you can also do that. Where do you get to learn all these things?
In townships, there is community groups. So if you go to most townships, especially recreational centers, you'll find that there are community groups that deal with traditional dancing only. Then when you move to urban spaces, you find that there are those who teach hip hop, there are those who teach contemporary dance, there are those who teach ballet. So depending on the location, if you go to Orange Farm, or if you go to Soweto actually, you'll find a lot of people who specialize in Zulu traditional dancing and Tswana as well.
Is there age restriction in this? Can I go and learn? You heard her comments about me dancing.
Oh, it was you, Mpumi. I didn't mention any name, so now it's obvious it wasn't me.
Is there any age restriction though for someone to come and learn dancing, for example?
For Dance for Change theatre company classes, we don't restrict age. You can start from as early as 4 until, if you feel like you can still move at 99, you can join our classes.
So are you able that when people are coming to your dancing school, you take them to specific gigs, or it's just dancing for themselves and they will find their ways around? How do you assist them?
So if you are part of the Dance for Change theatre project, you attend our classes. So the theatre project, it's the corporate social investment side of the Dance for Change theatre company.
Yeah.
So if you want to participate in, like, if you want to be part of our gigs, then you have to join the Dance for Change theatre company.
Yes.
That's when you get to be auditioned, and then you don't have to necessarily attend classes, but you attend rehearsals.
Okay.
So for specific gigs, you get called, and then you perform for the company. Then
Okay, wow. This leads us, of course, to a very short break. When we're coming back, we've got still more news and updates for you right here on Pan African Mornings. Stay with us.
Feel the heat. the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset. Absolutely beautiful!
This is exactly what I was looking for.
DJ Khaled! It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action. I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Welcome back. We're still with Mr. Sibusiso Dube. The other Dubes were singing and you were dancing.
Yeah.
Are you guys related?
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Before we went on to the break, we're still talking about how people or how anyone with the talent or with the interest in getting into a dancing space can make this as a career for them.
Yeah.
So now, in terms of support, now maybe let's start from you. In terms of support, did you get support from the family, or it was something that you did it against all odds, where people didn't really believe in you?
I did it against all odds. People didn't believe in me until the chances of touring Europe began to surface. Then that's when people began to support me. I think other people, they don't support me when it comes to watching shows, but they support me in terms of purchasing the Dance for Change merchandise. So yeah, the support has been growing gradually. The more I make impact in the lives of kids, the more people are getting to realize that this is actually a positive thing, and I'm taking kids out of the street. So yeah, the support has been growing with time.
You're speaking of merchandise. What sort of merchandise that Dance for Change is offering?
So we have t-shirts, confidence t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have masks as well that we usually sell. So we post them on our the Dance for Change Theatre Company Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a young man or young lady somewhere watching this show right now, and they're inspired by what you're saying,
yes.
what you have, the achievements that you have accomplished, and they're looking into getting into the space. What are the most challenges that they should be expecting?
There are some people who will do it. Like, I think one of the challenges that I experience is that most people do it as a hobby, and most people do it because they are passionate about it. So when you find those two type of people in one space, a person might want to push because they're passionate. Some they'll just say, even if I don't get to this certain level, it's still a hobby for me.
Okay.
So those are the challenges that one might experience, especially if you're passionate about dance.
Yeah.
Another thing would be the finances. You won't get to performing at concerts when you decide to be a dancer on the first day. So one must be able to enjoy the training. One must go through the process of learning, especially the business side of things, because dancers can get exploited. Most dancers get exploited, by the way. So you, as a dancer who's watching, you must be able to learn the process, learn as much as you can, always be willing to learn as you grow. There are people that I look up to who are way older than me, who are in their 40s, but they're still learning as dancers. So a dancer's life, it's all about learning. You don't get to a point where you arrive. You might be perfect in ballet, but there's still more to learn. There's still hip hop to learn. There's still traditional dances to learn. So that's what I can tell to the young kids.
Yeah. Perhaps in closing, what message would you want to, share with, young people out there who want to get into the same space that you're in? And on top of that, where could they find you and Dance for Change company?
I think for young kids, I'll just let them know that I think people are brought on earth for a reason. And I am using Dance for Change to make an impact, positive impact to the world.
Yes.
And each and everyone is given different gifts so that they can make an impact. So discover your gifts, make an impact, and leave a mark. What's important is leaving a mark. And they can follow us on Facebook. It's the Dance for Change Theatre Company. On Instagram, it's Dance for Change Theatre Company. We usually host confidence conversations on Wednesdays on the Instagram platform. So if they want to learn more, we usually bring artists, choreographers, so that we can discuss more about arts, so they can follow us there.
No, thank you so much, Butsibusiso, and we wish you all the best in your journey. And I'm thinking Mpumi would sign up with you quite very soon, or not?
No,
Mpumi?
for sure. No, I want to learn some dance moves, so definitely.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I would like to be part of just taking visuals of the training. I would love to see that. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that was Sibusiso Dube, a choreographer, and on top of that, he's a dancer, and of course a dance teacher, and of course he's also a leader, right, of Dance for Change organization, which actually impacts the lives of young people, taking them out from the streets, making sure that they have hope and a better life. Having said that, we are going on another commercial break. When we're coming back, we've got more news and updates for you right here on Pan African Morning. Stay with us.